Everybody, welcome to the Texas Real Estate Show, and here we are on Thursday before Easter when we're all going to be eating food and relaxing, putting our feet up, maybe even digging into that brisket a little bit here in Texas, and maybe eating a few hot dogs, whatever your choice. I don't know.
Anyway, Island's amazing.
Anyway, I'm here with my good friend Chase from Lone Star Premier Mortgage. And we're going to be answering a few questions today. Hey Kay, how you doing over there behind that camera?
I'm all good.
Are you rocking and rolling?
Yeah, I had a smoothie today.
From
No,
where?
oh my gosh, Minuti coffee.
Oh,
Minuti.
these coffees, that's quite nice.
Yeah,
That's quite
it's pretty
nice.
good.
I think it's better than Starbucks.
It's way better than Starbucks,
Yeah,
and
I
it's
really
cute
do,
in there.
yeah.
I tried to give a homeless man some food this morning, and he disappeared. So
What did you cook it?
No, that's probably why he ran away. Cause my food.
I don't say anything.
Yeah. Anyway, the first thing that we have on our menu this morning is we have an Instagram post from somebody where she owns a house in New York and she's got squatters in the house. It's $1 million home, and she decided to just go in there, change the locks, and the police went in there and arrested her.
What's the law over there in New York?
I think it's the same for everyone.
I don't know. But
Don't you have that same thing over in Europe too? Like,
No,
No?
the way it should be done in Texas is whether it's a squatter or not.
you're trespassing.
There's what you have to do is do the 3-day eviction. Then you've
Even
got,
if they're not even on a lease and not paying a goddamn thing.
you've got to go through a 3-day notice, which is basic, but they've got no lease to pay on, so it's basically a 3-day notice to
Can I
vacate.
charge them what the normal hotel rent is in that area?
No, you've got a lease. You've got to read paperwork.
There's no rent.
That's the problem with squatting. And then basically you do a writ of possession through your local sheriff.
Yeah.
That's the official way to do it. Now, I'm not saying if there's any other ways that people do it, because I don't know. But some people are very scrupulous. But I mean, but that's officially how you do it, and that's the way I would recommend that people do it. Because I don't want to be in a position where I'm going, especially spending Easter in a jail, with my hands behind my back.
Yeah, you don't see the judge till Tuesday. So.
That's right.
Yeah, and
Free
so
hotel stay over Easter.
Hey, they do give you 3 meals a day, free room and board. So,
Is it a choice of menu?
it's worse. Yeah.
Okay.
she was trying to sell the home, like and she was getting it prepped for viewing, I guess, for someone to come look, and she realized squatters moved in there, and so she's like, oh, I'm just gonna change the locks, because she had someone trying to buy the house.
Well, what
And
did you
so
say?
that's
Like,
so
they're not squatters. I just,
creepy.
wanted to have my property safely secured.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know
Well,
what you
there's a
could
problem
say.
with that. I've got a property that, the flip that I've got going on at the moment, and I had a realtor go in there last weekend, opened up all the windows, so now anybody can see what's in there and everything else. And I even got notes on the MS that says when you vacate the property, please turn off the lights, leave on the front lights, and close all the blinds.
And
But some
lock all the
realtor
windows.
has gone in there and made sure that they've left every single window open.
Oh, is that realtor maybe held liable if someone broke in through that window and messed it up?
How do you prove it's there?
It's not them doing the damage, but they're the ones who left it open.
Yeah, but what happens if you have 5 realtors on one day?
I see what you're saying. So there's nothing you can do for that.
No. One of the realtors has obviously left them open. Now part of my Easter is, guess what it's doing? Going up to the property and
Make sure everything's
make
locked
sure
up.
everything's okay. I even had one property a number of years ago where somebody did go when I was selling foreclosures, and this is honestly what they used to do. I believe the realtors going into the property, opening up the windows, leaving the windows open, and we was losing so many appliances. And I think people were stealing the appliances. People was leaving the garages open. When you don't have the motor, but you just have the bolts on the
Yeah,
side.
Mm.
They was just leaving that, so they would go in there.
Pull it up, grab everything.
Because some places have washer dryers in the garages.
So some of our rental properties that we have in Louisiana, we were actually having issues from stealing the whole AC unit.
Well, that's another issue as well. With
I
the
mean-
property I've got in Sandhill, I've got no cage on the AC. It's a brand new AC unit, 5-ton unit. and I'm wondering whether I should just pay $450 to put a cage on it, to be perfectly honest.
But Sand Hill's it's a pretty safe little suburb, so it doesn't look, but
So
we
is
also,
Harvest Green.
I was gonna say we live in Houston, so never mind,
Let
never
me tell
mind.
you, you can say the same thing about Bel Air.
Yeah,
It's not the people in Bel Air that cause the problem.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
and
true.
usually the criminals aren't stealing from their area. They leave their area, come out to our area, and then steal and go back.
That's true. That is very true.
I think you've got to be very careful when you sort of look at that.
Yeah, so you like bolt down the cage around the AC unit or what?
You can. We've done that in some places. A lot of our rental units,
Really?
we've actually put cages on, and we have a master key that opens up the cage.
Really?
In California, they used to put like the brick, they used to put like cement brick around it, like just so they couldn't, it was so tight you can't even like try to reach in or get anything out
but
of
the problem
there.
is with that is airflow.
Yeah, I mean,
There's airflow around the AC.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
terrible airflow, but
The AC, it's straining the AC, and the AC may not last as long as it might do in other
that's
circumstances.
probably why we needed a swamp cooler.
what?
A swamp cooler.
Never heard of that.
It's a window unit
Okay.
that used to put
I
water,
hate window units.
and it makes it so
I
humid.
hate window units.
It just makes it so humid.
We're in Texas. You're gonna have that
I've
problem.
got
It's in California though.
I've got a tenant that's looking at multifamily units, and all the multifamily units have window units,
Mm.
and it leaves it so vulnerable for people breaking in, stealing. I just think it's.
Bugs get in.
Do they? I've never lived in a property with a window unit.
Yeah.
Just don't.
It's just, to me, it's it was just very humid. Like worse than Houston humidity. It was nasty.
Anyway, we're going to move on now. A lot of loan companies, and this is where we need Chase's expertise, they are offering what they call a loan point buy down program, which basically is basically a contribution by the seller, or the buyer agrees to pay X amount of money. I offered it on my property where I would put X amount of money down to help buy the points down for the buyer coming into the property. So I'm going to explain it, and then hopefully Chase is going to explain it in more depth. But basically, what happens is, say the rate is 7%, you do a buy down, and maybe it gets down to 6%. Depending on how much money you put down, you might buy it down for 3 years or 4 years, or however far it goes. There's a discussion online which says, well, why don't you just take that, $6,000, where it was for the buy down, and pay it down and take it off your equity, and that way you're saving money anyway. Well, my personal opinion is it comes down to one thing, and I think me and Chase are of the same opinion. It depends how long you're going to stay in the house. So Chase, would you like to explain how the buy down program works?
Sure.
And how it's designed to work?
Well, what you want to do is determine how long you're in the home. And then what you do is you decide, hey, in reality, I could be in this home for 2 years. This is my retirement home, depending on what your life is. And then you want to do the math. So let's say we go from 7%, as you said earlier, we drop it down to 6. Let's say you save $100 a month, just for round numbers, it's $1,200 a year. Let's say you're losing $3,600 in total cost by buying it down. But in 3 years, $100, you get it all back. So if you plan on staying in that home for 5 years, you're going to gain $2,400 by doing that program. Now, if you take that, let's say $5,000, and say, hey, I'm going to use it on buying down the sales price. Sales price, realistically, on $5,000 lower on a $200,000 home is probably going to save you $15
A month.
a month. So it's very, very minimal. But everyone gets so caught up on getting the best deal on the sales price, they really need to talk to a professional.
I think people get caught up on the interest rates. To me, people get caught up in the interest rate, and the truth of the matter is, if you buy in the interest rates, and to me, it's more about having an affordable cash flow per month.
That's fine.
You know, I mean, if the cash, if the interest rate is high and it comes down, what do? You refi.
Well, depending on how long, again, you're gonna be in
Yeah.
there. So, I mean, I always tell my clients, like, hey, in my opinion, I don't think anyone should ever do more than a 20-year fix, just because of the compound fraction. You're almost at that 50-50 mark at a 20-year, where 50% of your first payment goes to principal, 50% goes to interest. You know, minus taxes and insurance. So if you get in a 20-year fix, if you just add $100 or $200 every single year, also do bi-monthly, where it comes out of your payment half the amount every month.
Mhm.
You will potentially take off 7 to 10 years just like that.
Right. I just want to make a comment about the bi-monthly.
Bi-monthly is very, very smart.
Right. I do that on all my investment properties. I pay bi-monthly.
I do on all of
All
mine.
right. But this is what I want to tell you. Make sure, because I use bill pay for so it comes out bi-monthly throughout the whole year. Make sure that when you send your bi-monthly payment to the different banks, if you pay any additional principal, make sure it's got principal on the amount.
Guarantee that, yeah. That's the most
Because
important
what
thing.
happens is, if not, what they'll do is apply it to future interest.
Yeah, well, what it does is doesn't let the interest hit it.
You know,
So if you pay the 15th, it goes all principal. The next one covers whatever's the minimum payment due, and that goes more interest. But
because
yeah,
I've had problems. Wells Fargo to me are the biggest problem children out there.
yeah,
Because we had one when the next payment was due in October, and because we was paying it bi-monthly, it just built up over the years. It was under this particular property. One of my properties is under my wife's
So I think the math breaks down to on most of the bi-monthly is if you do bi-monthly, you'll actually have 13 months of payments go to your property with 12 months coming out each year.
Right.
So yeah, that's different. But as far as the point is, just make sure you communicate with your LO how long you're going to be there, and the LO should be knowledgeable to advise you on what's the right move. Because right now, if you're not going to be in the home more than 7 years, look at a 5/1 arm. The rate's almost like 1.5% lower.
Right.
But if you plan on retiring in the home, then let's talk about 30-year, 25, 20, and then add a couple $100 on it.
Right. The next thing we're going to move on. We're going to talk about, we're having a lot of problems in Texas and California and Florida, where insurance companies are leaving the market. A lot of insurance companies now are leaving various states because of global warming and because of natural disasters, and things are changing. So what's your opinion on that, buddy? It's pushing up prices. If you can even get insurance.
So the thing with insurance, as far as the mortgage side, we used to run a very common number of 0.75 on every single transaction as we went through approval. About December, we moved that from 0.75 to 1.25.
Jeez.
As the average. Now, cost of living, cost of building material, cost of labor has all gone up considerably, which is why we're seeing those prices rise. But again, everyone likes to say that COVID thing, but we're 4 years after COVID right now.
Yeah, I don't think it's COVID.
I
think it's the amount of hits. I'm on a board for a property that we don't manage, but I'm on a board, and it's just to just work out where we're going with the insurance. And this particular building has 290 units. It's leading to great frustration to a lot of the owners in the building. 3 years ago, the insurance on the building was $300,000. The building is valued at $34 million. It's insured for $34 million. Then last year, the insurance went up to $600,000. This year, and there's been, all the insurance losses have been settled for the last 5 years. This year, they reckon it's going to be about $900,000. So they're going to have to do a special assessment, right?
That's 3
On
times.
the property, yeah. And one of the reasons why it's gone up, and they've been, and in all fairness, in in a homeowners association, it's always difficult because they push blame and they throw blame on one another and they get. I try not to get involved in any of that. I just want to resolve the problem. Basically, I had to get involved at the last meeting, set everybody down and say, look, we're here to sort of solve the problem.
Not make more.
Well, no, but then they end up throwing insults at one another because, and that just does nothing for anybody.
I love when people get like louder because they think they're right. And you're like, you're still just yelling about wrong.
One of the problems that we've got, because we manage HOAs as well.
Yeah, a lot of that much.
We do, but a lot of carriers are coming out of the market, so you've got less choices.
Really?
But what a lot of the homeowners don't understand is in the declarations of the homeowners association, we could get a cheaper insurance. In the declarations of the homeowners insurance, it says that the value of the property, all right, for the insurance alone can be a minimum of 80% of the total value of the property. Do you see what I'm saying? So in the event of chaos, all right, they would insure 80% of the property. It's in the declarations. Whatever's in the declarations. But then it's up to 20% of the homeowners to find the difference. What position does that put them in? But they're still not going to get a discount on the insurance because, there's a lot of things that are going on in the market, like EFS, this particular property has EFS on. Some insurance companies will not insure EFS.
At all.
Because water gets behind the back of the EFS, and then, there's only one way the water can go, and that's in.
That's really not a good sign.
It's not, but the property was built in the 80s. Now, the next thing coming up that we've got in the next 2 years is changing the plumbing from galvanized plumbing to.
It has to be done soon, yeah.
So that's why,
we got some serious fun coming.
We had let me ask you a question. So this is something that came up. I personally disagree with the person that made this comment. But you know me, I'm always wrong all the time. But the only person that plans this properly is a loan officer. If you're looking at a condominium, all right, is it detrimental to the property to see an assessment, or is it better to have a higher HOA fee? Because to me, as an investor, I would rather do an assessment and have a lower homeowners association fee. So the idea is that, one, as an investor, I can see some sort of cash flow.
Yeah.
All right. Two, if I'm a homeowner and I'm on a fixed income, this property I'm talking about has a lot of people on a fixed income. All right. The more the HOA fees go up, and especially, even as assessment is difficult for them, but I suggested to the HOA company, try and get them on a payment plan, even if it's $50 a month.
Yeah.
It's something, and it's going the right
20 hours a week. Something.
Anything. From a loan officer situation, is it better to do an assessment? Because I was always told it was better to do an assessment.
Well, as a loan officer, we don't care as far as our job purposes, but as far as a homeowner, it's doing an assessment. Not higher into it.
Because to me, if you do an assessment, do you know what it tells me? There's been new work done to the property.
Everything's done.
If there's an assessment that's been done to the property, then it means that they've updated the work or they've done something. Everybody's up in arms because of the assessments. I would rather see an assessment all day long.
Me too. And I'm always about lower fees, lower taxes, lower insurance, lower HOA, all that. The thing with condos is that maintenance fee. Sometimes,
and the problem is the insurance fees have gone up 20%, 30%.
Well, that's not across the board thing. maybe even a little more, you think?
Well, in Florida, you're even lucky if you get insurance for a condo now.
I haven't seen any flood insurance go up too much right now. I'm pretty much seeing the same exact
I've got
numbers.
somebody that I know who's actually on that insurance board, and she's got a property in Florida, and she uses it for Airbnb, and she's saying she can't get insurance on that property.
Really?
Oh.
That's not good. That's scary, people. Very scary. What we got
Anyway,
next?
the next thing I want to talk about, and this has been a very hot topic in the last few months, is the NAR lawsuit, the National Association of Realtors lawsuit.
Oh, this is what everyone's talking about.
Right, everybody's talking. It's a hot topic at the moment. This is what I want to talk to people about. The people that are getting screwed in a case like this isn't the greedy realtors. I think there are some realtors out there that have not done a good job for the general public. The good realtors, yeah, the good realtors, I think, have done a good job, and they deserve every penny that they can get. I've always said that on this podcast for the longest time. You know, the educated people, the people that are being good at their job, I think, deserve every penny they've got. I just want to point out the thing that's ironic about this lawsuit is in 1990, the Justice Department decided that what they was going to do on the MLS was to put what an agent was openly going to be paid, which was 3%. 3%. All right. So basically, this lawsuit is just a reversal of what the decision they made in 1990.
Mm-hmm.
So now what will happen is when you go to make an offer on a property, if I want 3% to work, I put 3% on the contract, make the offer. I have to have a buyer agreement, whether they're a tenant or a buyer. And basically, I negotiate with the seller what my commission will be. Any difference in the commission, then the buyer will have to pay me the difference in the commission. You know, in theory, but that's always negotiable. It's always been negotiable.
It's always been. Yeah.
All right. And that's the part that people always forget. All right. We've had agents in this company that, you know, give large contributions to their buyers that buy multiple properties per year. There's nothing wrong in that. But now what's going to happen is it's going to be a case of, well, if you want that sort of kickback, I want my full 3% when they negotiate.
Well, can we
So
negotiate
it's
more
going
than
to be done one way or the other. What's that?
Can we negotiate more than 3?
Yeah, you can negotiate
So
5
I
and 5.
want 7%. If you can,
Well, that's how it is in commercial.
Yeah.
It's 4% to the tenant's agent and 3% to the selling agent in commercial. You know, but let me tell you what I was sort of getting to. I had a call from an agent this week, and she said to me, and this is what I think is going to happen. As we go on down this path, more and more of things like this are going to come out the woodwork, and I think they're going to be like little worms coming out the woodwork. About 10 years ago, somebody in rural Brazoria decided to buy 2 lots next to one another.
Mm-hmm.
One of them had a house on it, all right? One of them was 5 acres next to it. So that basically is one, but they've got two parcel lots. It's basically
2 addresses.
One
address.
Parcel lots, one address, but they're basically 2 separate properties. They purchased it in cash. They decided, there was no agents involved, they decided when they bought it that they did not want to get a survey on any of the properties. All right, because it's the buyer's obligation. If you want a survey, get a survey. But, you know, the person you buy it from, if they haven't got a survey, then we, as realtors, we have to advise them to get a survey. So they decided to buy it as they're paying for it cash. We're not going to get a survey on the property. So they did the title search. Title search came back. This is 10 years ago, and said, not a problem. The seller that you're buying it from owns the property, will close the property. One of our agents goes out there, does a listing appointment, and says, have you got a survey? And they said, no. And they said, well, I suggest, because realtors have to suggest, that before you sell this property, you get a survey. So they send a survey out, they get a survey. Where the house sits, because they want to sell the house now. All right, where the house sits, it's fine. Where the land is, the 5 acres, there's a total of 15 pipes and easements going through that 5 acres.
And they're on plumbing, I'm assuming not septic.
It's gas lines, it's plumbing,
Oh my God.
it's all sorts of things. You name that type of pipe, water pipes, everything going through that pipe.
So they didn't know that.
They had no idea. How do they sell it? How can you maximize the value of that?
You can't
property?
build really unless you want to put a mobile home.
They can't build anything on it. It's an easement on the property.
Pretty much. And then to get them to move those around your property line, good luck.
You can't.
I mean,
You just can't.
well, that's unfortunate. So those 5 acres are completely worthless.
Yeah, the only thing you can do is put cattle on.
Yeah. Or put a mobile home or a still building and then not have any plumbing or electricity.
Even a mobile home, you're gonna have a problem because you got to put a septic tank on.
Yeah, no, I'm
Down in
saying,
Brazoria.
I'm saying you don't have any of that. Like, you have no choice because you're done. Like,
You just, I don't know what on earth you do with it. Because she called me up and she said,
is
well,
it, I mean, is it going right across the middle of the property?
it's going all over the place.
Oh, so it's multiple.
Yeah, they're crossing over. I mean, you could play tic-tac-toe on it.
That's bad. That's bad. Who was the realtor that helped them buy the property?
There was no realtor involved. It was for sale by owner.
That's why you always have a realtor.
And that's what I think people don't understand when they go on about the NAR and realtors aren't doing it. I watched an absolutely fabulous podcast the other day. There is a lady that I love to watch on YouTube. Let me just go onto YouTube and see what her name is. She's based in Louisiana, and she had an absolutely fabulous podcast the other day, and she had a North Carolinian. She had somebody from North Carolina he's a real estate attorney, and he is here's the name, Christina Smallhorn. And basically, she had a real estate attorney and is also a real estate agent. And there was another guy there from Florida who has a pretty, good operation in Florida. And one of the people on the chat turned around and says, "Was it cheaper for me to use an attorney than what it is a real estate agent at 3%? And he turned around and says, "Yeah, well, my rate for a real estate attorney is $500 an hour. You want to pay me $500 an hour to write your contract, go do your inspections,
Oh,
you
gosh.
know,
Appraisal meetings,
go
or your
to the
closing.
closing table."
When the potential loan officer calls me,
Wow.
By all means, you can go, but I would encourage anybody to go and watch. Her name is Christina Smallhorn.
yeah, what a great last name.
Small one.
And, quite
So
honestly,
she has tons of freaking videos.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
585 videos.
Yep.
She's all over this.
and she runs some really good videos,
And
So
she's out of Austin,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, Louisiana.
Louisiana? Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
She was an agent in Louisiana. She retired about 12 months ago.
So she just has a podcast now?
I believe so, but she has some interesting stuff. Most of it's relevant.
I mean, she's all over everything. She still has her website. You said she retired? Maybe she's just doing the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
But right now it says book a showing with me now. So maybe she's not retired. You're a real estate whisperer.
I think she teaches people how to increase your real estate.
She's in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, she increases your real estate using YouTube. I think that's what it is. That's
I think she's just genius. She just took our career path and marketing and put it through the social media stuff.
But basically, the NAR lawsuit, I think, is to a certain degree, it's nonsense. I think it's a fewer people that are, we've got to adapt
I think
It
it's
is
people who are not being
$3,000 for
transparent.
her information.
Oh, Lord.
So that's what she's doing. She's how do you use social media?
Mm-hmm. I wonder how many people have actually.
Purchased it.
What was you going to say, Kay?
I think the NAR lawsuit is just the agents just not being transparent. They weren't being clear, and so that just kind of ruined. One bad apple spoils the whole bunch.
That's what I'm saying. 1 or 2%.
That's Snow White.
1 or 2% of bad agents. I think it's been a house of cards.
Yep, that's what it seems like because it just doesn't make any sense.
And I think the other part that's very difficult, and I'm saying this as a broker, is I can never understand why, if an agent does something bad, because they can do things behind my back, why me as the broker have full responsibility in what they do.
Because you are supposed to be the one mentoring and reviewing all of stuff.
It's like
But they don't listen to you. They can do things behind your back and you'll never know about it.
That's not necessarily the whole industry. That's just that one person, not.
I mean, I've had it before with some agents, but
I've had it before too. I fired them,
and I've had to let them go.
Yeah.
Because they think that no, I'm self-employed.
I know what I'm doing.
It's like little kids. Basically it's like, your mama didn't teach you that. That's how I would say it.
Your mom didn't spank you before you went in public.
To me, what it should be is notice from Trek. Trek are the ones that should also, they're there to protect the public, but they should also, there should be, they should be taking action against the agents.
Yeah.
Because there's a limited share of liability to me that brokers can take. And the other thing they need to do is make it a lot harder for brokers to get their license. It's too easy for people to get their broker's license.
Yeah, it sucks that it was the entire association of realtors rather than finding out what brokerages this was actually
no.
coming
It wasn't,
from.
just saying, Century 21, we were one of the first ones to settle.
No, I'm saying like it sucks that it's the entire national, all of real estate. That's what I'm saying.
Business.
That's what I'm saying. The whole national, that's what, like, it sucks
AKA
that it's all of
Safe
them.
Act of 2008.
Yeah, it's like.
The realtors and bankers were all giving us these crazy loans to do. Realtors didn't care. We got all of our industry completely changed.
Yeah, see.
But we got blamed for everything. And yet every consumer knew, or most of them, and realtors
Understood.
knew, hey, you're doing an interest-only property. If your property does not go up in value and you continue to pay, you're not getting any equity in the home.
But the problem was back in 2008, the appraisers, some loan officers, and the agents were all in it together.
Yeah, but just like we said, they grouped all of those bad ones and made us all suffer. I went from making $700,000 a year to within 6 months because of the whole 2008 Safe Act.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that sucks.
Okay. All right. Well, let's wrap it up there.
Okay.
We will wrap it up. Everybody enjoys Easter Sunday this week. Enjoy your time with your family and your friends.
What do you cook for Easter?
What's that?
Do you cook anything for Easter?
Well, I love Easter, and I'm not religious, but I love Easter better than any time else apart from Thanksgiving. I've gone into Thanksgiving since I've been in the States. But I like Easter because in England, my favourite thing to do at Easter was to sit outside a pub, drink a pint of beer or two, like in the Cotswolds.
Steve does not drink very much.
I don't now because of the drugs I'm on with my epilepsy. But that was my favourite thing to do, and my favourite memory, to be perfectly honest, is sitting outside Warwickshire Castle one year when I was 21, 22, and just sitting on a bench, with Warwickshire Castle. I'll never ever forget that. One of my girlfriends at the time. And but over here, to be perfectly honest, I love the weather. When it's good weather at Easter, it's fab.
It's usually the best weather.
Yeah.
And but I like to eat turkey. Easter time,
I like deep fried turkey anytime.
you know.
I'm making a pot of gumbo tomorrow.
I'm
You
not
always
into-
make gumbo.
Yes,
I'm
I'm
not
Cajun
into-
and I'm fat. Leave me alone.
You know, I'm not into, you know, some of the other foods. Like I definitely don't.
No prime rib.
I also hate ham.
Why?
But I
I
like.
just don't like it.
I mean, in England you don't have brisket.
No.
I don't know where on earth they do brisket in England.
They
Well,
didn't
you know,
have. They
if
don't
you
have
go to,
brisket in
the Mississippi,
California.
Alabama, Florida, they don't have any brisket at all.
But
Or
they don't-
fajitas.
They don't have it in California either. I had not
No
had
one likes
brisket till
California.
Texas.
The brisket,
I'm just saying.
the brisket is absolutely fabulous.
It's amazing. You're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
A pork butt or a brisket, it takes a lot to mess it.
That's what brisket is, pork butt?
No, it's
Oh.
two different animals, cow and pork.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't eat
Brisket comes from
meat.
sheep, doesn't it?
Yeah, right here.
Yeah. Hey, let me ask you a question. What is one of the most common meats in Russia?
I don't know.
Goat.
What is it? Bear?
Horse.
People eat bear.
Horse.
Horse is actually very gamey. It's not very.
I used to eat paste as
I
a
just
kid,
don't
so I
like
know
the
what
idea
horse
of
tastes like.
This makes a lot of sense.
I just don't like the idea of that personally. I think it's gross.
So growing up in
I'd
Louisiana,
rather ride horses than.
we have eaten whatever dies.
Whatever dies.
Whatever. So like we used to go with our BB guns when I was like 6, 7 years old, and we would
You ever
shoot.
tried alligator?
Yeah, 1,000 times. I love
What?
gator.
You like it?
Oh my god, yes.
I like
Delicious.
fried alligator.
Deep fried, grilled, or smoked. I don't care what it is. We used to cut or shave
Well,
all
that-
of the thing off and just put the tail and the head and smoke the whole body.
Me and my wife, we've spoke about it, where we're going to go over Easter, but we're looking. She went to Louisiana a couple of weeks for a professional conference, and her next one is in Hawaii, which really pisses me off.
Wait, I thought you liked when she left.
What's that?
I thought you liked when she was leaving.
I did like when she's leaving. I did like the peace and quiet.
So then Hawaii, that's a good like
But Hawaii,
4 or 5 days.
instead of Hawaii, I mean.
He's like, I want to go. He's like, I want to go to Hawaii.
I mean, I'll put up with it for 4 or 5 days.
Oh gosh. In the
You know,
episode.
the
Wait, I thought we already cut it off.
No, Steven didn't say bye. We should start
I
talking
was
about
still
food.
doing it, but
He's gonna get in so much trouble.
the truth of the matter is, I'll be honest, we said over Easter what we would do is we would go and see and get some Cajun food.
Oh,
Because
nice.
I love shrimp po' boy
God,
sandwiches.
you've always talked about the bread and all that.
I love it. You know,
So-
there's a French on the Mississippi in New Orleans. There's like a long French cafeteria, and it's great. But we found somewhere in Houston recently that does fried shrimp po' boys, or you can have grilled shrimp po' boys. And we're thinking of maybe trying it the weekend. But of course, being Easter, you know,
Bayou City, Richmond and 610 is gonna be the best Cajun food, no matter what you want. You just their shrimp po' boy, their bread is perfect.
oh, I know what you mean. I've had there.
Yeah,
I've had
it's
there.
perfect.
Yeah, is that it's sort of a new one now, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it used to be like an old wooden looking building, like knocked it down, and then they
Yeah.
made it a very new, modern looking.
Yeah,
but
and
that's
what's the
best.
barbecue place next to it? It's been there for
It's
years.
not. It's A-Bears. It's not barbecue. It's like a
No,
meat,
no,
it's
no,
like
no,
a
no,
meat
no,
shop.
no. There's a.
Oh, the barbecue, the one that's on the other side. Yeah, I don't know what it's called. I've never had it
It's been there for years.
for years. Yeah.
Because our old office used to be opposite that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 4703 Richmond.
Okay, so you're across the street then.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we watched. I'll never forget one year where the seafood place is. There used to be an old bar there.
Yeah.
And we watched the World Cup there like 8 years ago, 12 years ago, whatever.
Okay.
I don't know. It was a lot of fun. Anyway, less of the chat. It's time to wrap up this. Have a great Easter for everybody. Enjoy your time with
Stay
your
safe,
family.
guys.
Stay safe. Do all the good things and leave the bad things wherever they need to be left. Until then, stay safe, be healthy.
See y'all soon.
See you soon. Take care.